Alright guys, so recently, if you lived under a rock, you probably haven't heard the news that Vince McMahon has been naughty. Apparently he's a very horny man. So today we're going to be checking out just what those allegations and naughty things really were.
One of the biggest names in the entertainment industry has once again stepped down after accusations of rape, assault, and human trafficking. We're analyzing the 67-page lawsuit.
Wait a minute. Human trafficking? I don't actually know many details of this. I just saw text messages, like a screenshot of text messages. I didn't realize it was this bad. Jesus, Vince, the hell have you done?
Janelle Grant, a former staffer in WWE's legal and talent departments, has filed a lawsuit in U.S. District Court against World Wrestling Entertainment, more commonly known as WWE, Vince McMahon, the founder of WWE and executive chairman, and John Laurinaitis, a retired wrestler and head of the talent relations department for WWE.
Yo, not John Laurinaitis.
Because McMahon and Grant are both Connecticut citizens, and Connecticut is where WWE headquarters is based. Now, first, let me tell you, before we even get into this lawsuit, a couple of things. We are mentioning her name, Janelle Grant, because she has chosen to be publicly identified. That's number one. Number two, this lawsuit includes very, very sexually explicit text messages and descriptions that we cannot show you here. We just will not.
I saw them.
But what we are going to do is break down some of the most disturbing allegations as best as we can. So to start, there is a line at the beginning of this complaint that I thought was very interesting. And it says, quote, Miss Grant is filing this lawsuit not just to address her own suffering, but also to act for those who are afraid to speak out. I find that interesting because, as we have seen sometimes, when a high-profile person is accused by one person, then others will come out too. One person's claims gets the ball rolling. Sometimes they aren't comfortable coming forward immediately. But just to let you know that Vince McMahon, he has already been accused by prior employees of trying to cover up their relationship. So some of this is not new. Having said that, when we get into the details of this, it's kind of unthinkable. But according to the lawsuit, Grant met Mr. McMahon in 2019 when they lived in the same building. Grant's attorneys say that she had been the full-time caregiver for her parents, who both died, and that the family home was lost in the parents' bankruptcy. The complaint explains that she was in a really low place in her life. Well, after being introduced to McMahon, he befriended her, showed her a lot of attention, allegedly offered her a role with WWE, told her that he would, help her life. Although what that role would be wasn't entirely clear in the beginning. And that seems to be something that McMahon allegedly took advantage of. You see, from the beginning, Grant alleges that McMahon would greet her in his underwear, in his condo, pull her close to him, tell him.
This ain't funny, bro. The whole thing ain't funny, but there's some things that this guy's going to say is going to make me laugh. The thought of McMahon opening the door and standing there in his wife fronts, that is going to make me laugh. That sort of stuff's going to make me laugh. But the overall, it's not funny at all. Now I'm going to laugh because I'm trying not to laugh.
Now, Grant says eventually she was coerced into a sexual relationship with McMahon in exchange for a new role at WWE called Administrator Coordinator in the legal department. Now, while she started there, McMahon eventually transferred her to the Talent Relations Department, headed up by John Laurinaitis, again, a co-defendant in this case, a former wrestler. But despite Grant's alleged pleas to end this essentially quid pro quo sexual relationship with McMahon, it did not, and according to Grant, it only got worse. First, Grant says that McMahon would share sexually explicit photos and videos of her with men both inside and outside of the company, including TV production teams, executives, producers, crew, even a world-famous athlete looking to sign.
Why did she send them in the first place? I know you're going to say that, okay, she was doing it to get money, blah, 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 she was broke, all this. I get that. But surely if she just said no, and then he threatened her to sack her or fire her, then she could probably just use the messages and threats that he originally gave her before sending the photos. If she didn't send the photos, if that makes sense.
With the WWE, this person is not identified in the lawsuit, and we'll talk a little bit more about this later on. Then McMahon is accused of recruiting individuals to have sex with Grant or participate in threesomes. He also allegedly directed her to have sex with Mr. Laurinaitis, who's again named in the lawsuit. She was expected to perform sex acts at WWE headquarters before, during, and after work hours. And to give you an example of what we're talking about here and what she was allegedly subjected to, the lawsuit says that on May 9th, 2020, McMahon defecated on Grant
Nah!
and commanded her to continue the sexual encounter with the third person referred to as McMahon's friend.
Vince McMahon shit on her. The level of fucked up on the scale is finished. Nah. That is genuine fucked up, bro.
Contact with her at the office at WWE headquarters. This was allegedly despite her begging them to stop, and each held her down as the assaults happened. They allegedly said to her, "No means yes." Truly horrific stuff when you think about it.
What the fuck?
The lawsuit just describes these multiple sexual encounters between Grant and McMahon, which Grant says were not consensual. She claims that he assaulted her multiple times with sex toys named after male wrestlers. According to the lawsuit, quote, in addition to her panic attacks, Ms. Grant began experiencing increasingly severe physical, mental, and emotional symptoms, including sleep disruption, dizziness, exhaustion, rashes, weight loss, hair loss, and migraines. November 2019, Ms. Grant informed Mr. McMahon that her doctor suggested that her symptoms stemmed from trauma and ongoing stress. McMahon mocked her, quote, emotional trauma, my ass. However, on November 20th, 2019, McMahon insisted that Ms. Grant see a physician of his choosing. There's another allegation regarding someone identified only as WWE superstar. This is a wrestler in the organization. And the allegation is that McMahon used Grant as a sexual pawn to entice this WWE superstar.
Does it say the year? Like, did it say when this was happening? Or has it not done that? The two met in March 2019. Yo, it was only fucking 4 or 5 years ago. I thought this was going to be like fucking early 2000s. What?
I want to drive you lower and lower, so low that you might beg me to sell you. McMahon reportedly showered Grant with gifts financed by the WWE, including tickets to VIP events, gift cards worth thousands of dollars, clothing, jewelry, flowers, BMW, chef-catered dinners, a spa vacation. And then in January of 2022, McMahon had told Grant that his wife had found out about their sexual relationship.
Oh, no.
He said that her time at the WWE was at an end, but insisted that she sign a non-disclosure agreement, an NDA. In the lawsuit, her lawyers say, quote, in the days ahead, McMahon put Miss Grant under immense pressure to sign, saying that refusing would not only jeopardize McMahon, his family, and the company, but that she'd surely become a public headline, suffer reputational ruin, including from the pornographic content McMahon had captured, and face McMahon's legal resources.
What do you mean pornographic content,
assured her that her
Wait, surely they didn't record it, did they? Surely not. Oh, Vince.
Signature would ensure his continued support and protection and safeguard her reputation. Ultimately, Miss Grant succumbed to the pressure and signed the NDA in exchange for payments, which McMahon later stopped making.
Okay, so obviously she signed the NDA, okay? Can I just clear the room? I know I've laughed at certain things in this, right? It's just sometimes I laugh at stuff. The pants, and then he was naming sex toys after wrestlers. But the whole situation is not funny at all. It's absolutely disgusting. It's fucked. I want to make a point. If she signed an NDA, a non-disclosure agreement, that means she can't talk, right? If she signed that and then does talk, what are the repercussions for that? Because surely if you sign an NDA, not that it kind of cancels out everything that happened, isn't that like a backup thing for McMahon to fall onto that maybe will make things easier on him? I'm not really educated in the whole law, crime situations. So if anybody is, if you want to let me know in the comments box down below, I appreciate it.
The lawsuit claims that multiple high-ranking employees at WWE knew about this sexual relationship as well as assaults allegedly committed on Grant at the offices, but did nothing to stop it. Grant's legal team says that she is suffering from PTSD and has struggled with suicidal ideation.
So the whole reason, whenever I'm kind of shocked, I found out that this was literally 2019. I thought it was going to be early 2000s, Attitude Era, that kind of time, I just thought this was an old photograph of when she was younger. Because that was something that I could have, like, how do I word this? It wouldn't have been as shocking because of what the product was around then. You know, the fucking bras and panties matches, people running around backstage with their boobs out, all that jazz. The fact that it happened fucking 4 years ago is crazy.
This lawsuit has different claims or causes of action that I'm going to go into right now. And remember, in a civil case, the standard of proof is not beyond a reasonable doubt, like we have in a criminal case, but usually preponderance of the evidence. That's a lower standard, meaning that Grant has to show that more than likely this happened, more than 50% that these things happen, that they're true. So it is a lower standard to prove, but you still have to prove your claims nonetheless. Here, not only Grant's account, probably her testifying, but the incredibly sexually explicit text messages that are included in this complaint, the ones from McMahon, yeah, that can definitely help prove her case. And during discovery, in the course of a litigation, where they will get more information from McMahon and WWE, this is going to be evidence from the defendants that Grant hopes will help prove her claims. We can't show you or read you these text messages in the complaint because honestly, they're just far too graphic and
I will. Okay, let's start with here, okay? The white is Vince and blue is Janelle, okay? From Vince. That's you, Janelle. You just can't get enough, can you? In the future, it's going to be so bad that you'll demand to be fucked twice a day and not just with blank in a three-way. Why not let others see the beautiful, voluptuous body and watch you shake uncontrollably when you come? They'll go out of their minds. Then I'll find more friends and will tag you up so you're helpless. I'll direct them to have their way in any way they want. Who can make you scream the loudest. Maybe I'll just line them up and have them squirt in, oh my god, bro, in your, oh god. You'll be covered in cum and we'll make you eat it all and taste everyone's cum. The next morning you'll be a little sore, but you're still going to want more. After all that, fucking over and over, maybe he wants 2 other guys to join you with him. Holy shit. You've told him you would do anything with him. So if he surprised you with 2 other guys, you wouldn't have no alternative than to take them on. But she said she would do anything. Oh my god, the stories you could tell me then. It makes me want to come right now, bro. This is wild. By the way, I just thought of what I think is an excellent idea. Maybe you could hint that if he knows someone who can be discreet, it might be better if you and Johnny... Is that John Laurinaitis? Try him out first so he can get more comfortable because he's introduced to me. Actually, that makes total sense, doesn't it? Exactly, baby. He's not the only one. Blank called me. Who is Blank? Who is Blank? Surely it's not Brock Lesnar, because I know Brock Lesnar was involved. Coming this afternoon, begging to eat you and fuck you with his nice... Oh my, bro. Give me another week, baby, and I'll be ready. I'm feeling more like myself. It's not great, but it's getting better. Tell him soon. I already told him, baby. By the way, Johnny wants Tuesdays, but not this one coming on an occasional Saturday, but maybe I can shift it to Thursday nights. Oh my god. Ari, your last picture. You need your panties ripped off and 3 big... in all 3 holes at the same time, way up your ass, as far as they've... Oh, bro, this is wild, man. Bro, this is crazy. If he's like from the start you're being assaulted, it feels like from the start you're being assaulted, but it's made you come non-stop. That's an interesting sentence. Just one continuous constant orgasm, and just before you pass out, those black squirt their loads of cum inside you as you lay on your stomach. Cum is coming out. This is insane. That's fucked, bro. I feel like we'll just end it there, man.
But they include alleged texts from McMahon in which he describes violent sex acts he wants to perform on Grant or have others perform on her. The messages call her all sorts of degrading names. They tell her what other men have said about explicit photos and videos of her. He appears to also be scheduling sexual liaisons between Grant and other men like Laurinaitis. The texts purportedly from McMahon also repeatedly tell Grant that if anyone were to find out about the relationship, she would lose her job and possibly face legal consequences. All right, so it's no secret that listening to stories like this McMahon one are tough to hear, and it just reminds you how dark life can be. And, you know, talking to somebody about what you're feeling, what you're going through, that can be a really, really good thing because your mental health is so important. Second claim argues that the NDA is invalid under Connecticut's common law. Now, that's not a statute. The common law is basically the laws that come from judges' decisions in court cases. And here she's saying that the NDA is too broad and that she entered into this NDA under duress, so it's invalid. The third cause of action says that McMahon and Laurinaitis violated the Trafficking Victims Protection Act of 2000, or TVPA. The suit claims
right, okay, hold on a minute. Is McMahon going to go to jail over this? Surely anything to do, if you are done for human trafficking, that's not just a slap on the wrist. Surely. Human trafficking, as in this case, is passing her around the friend group, right?
Recruited, enticed, and solicited Grant for sexual abuse and exploitation, especially as McMahon traveled across the United States. Crossing state lines becomes a big factor in sex trafficking cases. The allegation is that they used fraud, such as the lure of career opportunities, to coerce Grant into sexual activities. Likewise,
that's
count
fucking
4
wild, bro.
is that the WWE knowingly participated in this trafficking and benefited from and facilitated this venture in violation of the TVPA.
Surely
Count
the
5
whole
is
group,
negligence.
the whole
That's when you
board.
have a legal duty to use reasonable care. You don't do that, and that causes injury or harm.
Yo, imagine it was Triple H. Imagine blank from the messages was Triple H. That would be the most fucked up thing I might ever read. Crazy.
Here, this negligence claim is against the WWE, namely that they failed as an employer who has the responsibility and duty to make sure their employees are safe and protected. Count 6 is civil battery against McMahon and the WWE. Now, that is about intentional, harmful, and offensive contact that McMahon allegedly engaged in on Grant. And there is one particular disturbing account that it's cited here where McMahon allegedly forced Grant to perform oral sex on him in a very, very graphic and violent scene. Now, she claims the WWE is liable for the battery, that they're legally liable, because they're legally liable for the actions of their chairman. Under a vicarious liability legal theory, that is where you hold companies on the hook for the actions of their employees who engage in wrongdoing if those actions are within the scope of their employment or they were done while they're on the job. Count 7 is also civil battery, except this time it's against the WWE and Laurinaitis. So specifically, these forced sexual contact or acts between Laurinaitis and Grant, including the ones that were done at his office in the WWE headquarters.
So fucked up.
Now, counts 8 and 9 are intentional or negligent infliction of emotional distress. This is against McMahon, Laurinaitis, and the WWE. The basic idea is that they intended or should have known that their actions would cause Grant to suffer emotional distress. And she lists a number of extreme and outrageous forms of conduct, like with McMahon's text messages, sexual assault, trafficking, exploiting her. Laurinaitis, she claims, treated her like a sexual object.
John Laurinaitis.
Including forcing her to travel to his hotel for sexual activity. And the complaint highlights that he and McMahon were the bosses. We can't forget it. These were the supervisors. These were the bosses. That is such an important part of this lawsuit.
Even still, this is why it's confusing me, because John Laurinaitis, didn't he leave like fucking 13 years ago? On February 1st, 2024, Laurinaitis responded by releasing a statement through his attorney that accused McMahon of sexual misconduct, where he accused McMahon of holding power and control over him and making dictatorial sexual demands with repercussions if not met. John Laurinaitis, I feel like you're talking shit, bro. I feel like you were just in it as much as Vince. Let's not be a bitch about it, bro. You've been caught.
Now, in terms of what she is looking for, what she's asking for in this lawsuit, A, invalidate the NDA.
Can you actually think about that for a second? That very grown man has just blamed another another man for forcing him to partake in sexual conduct. That's fucked up. That is, they're both fucked. Vince and John, both fucked in the head.
Be able to speak about what happened.
Put him in jail!
2, compensatory and punitive damages. Remember, punitive damages are kind of a way to punish and deter this conduct. And what has happened so far in the result of this lawsuit is that McMahon has resigned from the WWE's parent company, TKO Group Holdings. McMahon said he did that out of respect for the WWE universe, but he denies all of the allegations. Now, remember, McMahon had previously stepped down as CEO of WWE in 2022.
That's exactly what an innocent person would do.
Sexual assault allegations were raised. The thing was, at the time, he never sold his stock. He was the controlling shareholder. So he just came back on the board, and then the board voted him to make him executive chairman again. And then WWE and UFC, they merged together to form TKO Group Holdings. In a statement, the company said, quote, Mr. McMahon does not control TKO, nor does he oversee the day-to-day operations of WWE. While this matter predates our TKO executive team's tenure at the company, we take Ms. Grant's horrific allegations very seriously and are addressing this matter internally. Now, what is interesting about that statement is that according to CNN, TKO, which is a publicly traded company, alerted the SEC in its most recent quarterly filing report that, quote, Mr. McMahon's membership on our board could expose us to negative publicity and or have other adverse financial and operational impacts
definitely
on our business.
Bro.
The company said in the filing, quote, his membership also may result in additional scrutiny. So that makes me wonder, what exactly did they know and understand about McMahon's dealings? Now, McMahon's team put out a statement saying, quote, I stand by my prior statement that Ms. Grant's lawsuit is replete with lies, obscene made-up instances that never occurred, and is a vindictive distortion of the truth. I intend to vigorously defend myself against these baseless accusations and look forward to clearing my name.
So Vince has straight up from the fucking horse's mouth called it all lies, obscene made-up instances, and it is a vindictive distortion of the truth. Obscene made-up instances that never occurred. So if they never occurred, right? They never occurred. How is it a distortion of the truth? Because to say that's a distortion of the truth, it means the truth has been like twisted a little bit to make the scene seem a bit different. But if they never happened, how? You know what I mean? I feel like that's a bit contradictive. I don't think you're going to clear your name, Vince. I think you're fucked, man. I ain't gonna lie, bro.
It is a vindictive distortion of the truth. I intend to vigorously defend myself against these baseless accusations and look forward to clearing my name. And look, there are a number of ways that this can go, right? McMahon, Laurinaitis, the WWE, they could try to settle with her. We recently saw that in the Sean Combs litigation. If they want to fight this, the first thing that we'll probably see is an answer. That's an actual legal filing in response to a complaint. Ultimately,
too far gone to settle.
What a defense could be is they'll try to say these events never happened, or if they did happen, they were entirely consensual, particularly because of her responses in certain text messages.
I don't want to say something that might make me look like a dick, right? But I feel like it could have been consensual. I mean, she replied. If she's clearly replying and insinuating that she's looking forward to it, I'll see you next week, blah, blah, blah. Surely that's not forced, though. I don't know. The whole thing's fucked. My personal opinion on the whole thing is that she is a victim. 100%. 99%. Vince, John Laurinaitis, and Blank are all very guilty. But there's just an element of, you know what I mean?
Counter argument to that, of course, would be that she said or did anything she could do to appease these people. It can get very complicated in these kinds of lawsuits and this kind of litigation. Now, the WWE would try to distance themselves as much as possible, saying they didn't have any knowledge of anything like this happening. They would maybe say that the actions of McMahon or Laurinaitis were not done within the scope of their employment, but in their personal capacity. That would be a way to get away from that vicarious liability theory that I mentioned before. But it can be tough, especially if you have this working relationship. If it was done on WWE headquarters premises, that's kind of gets complicated. And look, I should tell you right now, there is still an ongoing federal investigation into Vince McMahon, too. In fact, only a few months ago, law enforcement executed a search warrant and subpoena on McMahon and the WWE regarding sexual misconduct allegations. So there are all these different factors.
On a different case?
We are going to continue to follow this case and see how it progresses.
Well,
Some very disturbing stuff, but I appreciate you staying with us as we talked about it.
Thank you, Jesse. Anyway, that is absolutely... It's insane, isn't it? It's absolutely insane. And again, I genuinely can't believe that was only 4 or 5 years ago. What do you guys think in the whole situation? Obviously, it doesn't take you, a blindfolded Stevie Wonder sitting in grandma's basement could see that Vince McMahon and the rest of the Gooden Squad are quite clearly the guilty party here. Anyway, I'm looking forward to seeing your guys' comments down below. This whole thing's fucked. It's up in the air. It's all over the place. But guys, give me some reaction down below. I'd love to hear from you guys. Anyway, this has been a long video, literally near 30-minute video. Thank you guys for watching. I appreciate it. Have yourself a good day. Peace.